Well, welcome. I'm joined today by Ray, who's one of our star patients in the clinic. Welcome, Ray. I'm so glad to be chatting with you today.
Hi, Dr. Brighton. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So, why I'm so excited to talk with you today is because you've experienced some really profound transformations. And I know in my experience, when patients hear other patients' stories, they recognize themselves in that and they see that it is possible to heal. So, to get started, I'd love if you could share a little bit about how you were feeling before you came to our clinic and what really, inspired or provoked you to seek help.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So a few years ago, I started feeling very, very tired all the time with no explanation whatsoever. And I just didn't have a whole lot of energy. I was very tired, and my digestion wasn't working so well. It was very slow. And I had other weird symptoms too, like blurry vision and dizziness, and a little bit of like almost like paranoia, and what I call brain fog as well.
Yeah. And so for you, if we can remind me, your energy, this like kind of was a slow creep that came on over time, but it was something that a lot of other doctors and people you were seeing were like, oh, just sleep more, or just do this or just do that, but you weren't getting much symptom relief.
No, that's right. In fact, I would spend a lot of time in bed, but I wasn't sleeping. I had insomnia as well. And I went to my regular doctor, and they said there was nothing wrong with me. And they even checked my thyroid levels and said that there was no problem. So I didn't really know what to do. And at the time, I didn't really know much about naturopathic medicine, but a friend recommended it to me, and I figured, well, I might as well try something, anything really. So I went. Actually, I saw another naturopath first, and she diagnosed the Hashimoto's and the hypothyroidism, but she put me on the wrong medicine. She put me on a lot of iodine and L-tyrosine, and I got I got a lot of energy back, but it didn't feel good. It felt I still had a lot of the other symptoms, but my energy was kind of through the roof, and it just didn't feel right. And that's when I went to see you. So I
Yeah.
wanted a second opinion.
And I remember you came in on all that iodine. And for people who are listening and might not know, those with Hashimoto's, if they're given iodine and they have low selenium, which most of us do unless we've supplemented, that can actually cause a Hashimoto's flare. So it can flare the autoimmunity, which is why your energy was coming up, that everything else wasn't feeling quite right.
hmm And when you told me, that I had hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's, it made perfect sense. And you explained the numbers in the chart in the labs to me, and then I finally understood. And that's when we started the thyroid hormone medicine, and that's when I started the diet. And shortly thereafter, for the first time in a few years, I started to get my energy back, and everything started to come back into normal. Digestion, thinking, clarity, energy, all of it. And my sleep has been a lot better. So I can't thank you enough for how much you've helped me over the last year and a half.
Oh, well, thank you. But, I think it's really important that we recognize that although, I had the answers and I could really lay out the roadmap of what it was going to take to heal, it was you who took the steps every day. It was you who changed your diet. It was you who committed to changing your health. And I think that's, it's a really important point to touch on because, and truly, I don't feel like I healed you. I feel like I helped teach you how to heal yourself. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, you taught me a lot, but this has definitely been a journey that I've been taking very seriously. And I think the hardest part was not the diet itself. The diet itself is great and easy and delicious, and I enjoy it and my body loves it. But it was the mental shift that it took to actually get myself to do it. And others had explained to me that this might help, but the way you explained it to me, like it just really stuck with me. And then it just took me a few weeks to just like read about it some more and make some commitments to myself and rearrange my pantry and clean out the fridge, and just I just decided that health was more important than like, comfort food, and the rest has been fantastic.
Yeah. And, that's one of the reasons why you're one of our star patients is because you took the recommendations, you did research for yourself. We love it when patients go deeper in their research. And then you took time to really, wrap your head around it and get ready and prepare yourself. And I think that's like, something I really like to highlight, because that's part of why you were so successful, is that you integrated the knowledge for yourself and you took the time to prepare before going all in. And I think, so many people are like, okay, I'll just change everything now. And then a few weeks later, they're like, wait a minute, what am I doing? This is not compatible with my.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. I think it takes a mental shift beforehand. And if patients are able to do that, I think it works.
Yeah. Were there any other things in working with my practice or my team that were especially helpful for you, or you felt like really contributed to your success?
Yeah, you explained to me what all the supplements were for. Whereas like other doctors in the past, they're like, oh, you might want to try this or take this. And you've explained a lot of, the reasons why thyroid patients need certain, vitamins, minerals, supplements. And it made sense. And you gave me like enough information to make me more curious. And it's become my hobby over the last year or so to read more about this stuff.
I
And
love it.
it's very fascinating. Like in high school, I don't even think I took anatomy and physiology. I never took the class. But I feel like I've learned more in the last year than I've ever learned before, and it's fascinating and interesting. And I just love taking care of my body.
Oh, that's so great to hear. That makes every doctor, our hearts just pitter patter when someone says they love taking care of their body. So bring us up to speed today. Like, how is your energy? How is your mood? How is your digestion currently?
My mood is really good. My sleep is pretty much back to normal. I mean, every now and then I have a night of insomnia, but it's usually related to some stress in my life and not just ongoing with no explanation. And my digestion is great, and my energy is good. It's really good. I mean, I certainly don't feel like I did 5 years ago, but that might just be age rather than anything else at this point. And it's certainly way better than it was a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to chalk that up to age. We're going to keep working on
All
that.
right, that's great. And my clarity is a lot better too. Yeah, I mean, I've one of the things I've learned from you and then in the research afterwards is just how much the thyroid controls in your body and your mind. And Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't even know where my thyroid gland was when I went to see you, let alone what it did or how important it was or how it would make you feel if it stopped working right. And people still don't understand when I tell them, just how important the thyroid gland is, because if yours is working, it's almost invisible to you. Like you wouldn't
Mhm.
think that all these crazy symptoms could happen to you.
Yeah. And it's really, I think, the struggle of the hypothyroid patient in that you look fine. Everything looks fine. But when you have hypothyroidism, literally nothing feels fine because every single cell in your body needs that thyroid hormone.
hmm
I'm curious, have you seen any impacts, like in terms of your social life, in terms of friends, families, relationships?
Yes, indeed. I mean, for a while when I was having all these strange symptoms and I couldn't explain them and I didn't have energy, I just started cutting more and more things out of my life because I didn't have the energy for them. And now I'm just gregarious and social and back to normal, which is fantastic.
That is fantastic. Is there anything that you want to add, or maybe a tip that you can give to people who are thinking about coming to work with us?
Yeah, one of the things that was challenging for me in the beginning and some of the other doctors I had seen was that there's a lot of confusion around hypothyroidism and what the symptoms really are, because there's about 50 symptoms, but not everybody has all of them. And then there's some that most patients have, and I didn't have all those. And so a lot of the doctors were like, "Oh, well, you're not overweight, so you don't have hypothyroidism. We're not even going to check your labs." And that was a mistake. Yeah, I didn't have the weight gain, but I had a lot of the other symptoms. The other thing is that I know Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism hits women more than men, and so there was a doctor in the beginning who said, "Oh, well, you're a man, so you don't have this." And then I went back to her later on after it was an endocrinologist after I saw you, and I brought the lab, and she was like, "Oh, I guess you do have it." And I mean, I think I made my point, but inside I was thinking, well, thanks a lot, like I've been struggling for the last year since I saw you. But anyway, that's all water under the bridge now, and I'm just glad that I'm doing what I need to do now.
Yeah, and I think what I hear in that is that, and why again you're such a star patient. You never stopped advocating for yourself, and even when doctor after doctor was like, "No, that you can't possibly have this. This is not, not a real symptom," or I'm not going to test you for this condition. You kept going deeper and deeper into the research and looking for help. And, that is the difference between people who usually get help in medicine and people who don't. There's those who will advocate for themselves relentlessly, knowing what normal is for themselves and knowing just because a doctor dismissed your symptoms doesn't mean you shouldn't keep seeking help.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. Well, Ray, I want to thank you so much for your time and sharing your story with us. You truly are a star patient, and we love being able to help individuals really take the reins in their health, and you've done exactly that. So I'm just so grateful for the experience to work with you and for you taking the time to share your story.
Oh, you're very welcome, and thanks to you and your staff as well for helping so much.